Hi everyone. So let's talk today about how to get a more massive set of data using many vectors through the StatCan Web Data Service. And so to do that, we're going to use the getBulkVectorDataByRange function. And we're going to create a list of vector IDs to bring in through to our document, and we will then load that into the code. So I'm just going to get down here, and then the reason why we're using the bulk vector data by range is that, as you can see here, the vector IDs actually is in square brackets and there's multiple of them. So we're going to take advantage of that, and we're actually going to beef it up a little bit to be even bigger, and obviously we don't want to type out every single vector ID if there's 30 or 40 or 50 of them or even more. So we're gonna do some lists and tables in Power BI to get there. So let's get started. So today, rather than starting from a blank query, we're actually going to start by entering data. So I'm gonna, once I'm in here, I've got my table, and I can just literally go and pull my list of vector IDs from the CSV or elsewhere if you have it, and we're just going to get started here. So I've got my vector ID. I've already removed the V out of the beginning, but if not, you can just process that out using replace values in an additional applied step. So now that we have generated our table, now we're going to move into the advanced editor, and we're going to start setting up the same things as we had done before. So first we have a post URL, which we know from the StatScan site, and we're just going to take it directly off there. So the post URL is in here. Make sure that goes in your quotes. And then rather than putting the post body in here right away, we're actually going to just do some things. So I guess you'll notice that there's a whole lot of code from when we brought this in here. I can't honestly tell you what it is, but it is what it is, and it doesn't obviously affect us. It's just looks kind of crazy. So what we're going to do, rather than call this source, I'm actually going to change it to vector table, and then we're going to go and do some things. So now that we've got it as our vector, we don't really care too much about the change type. We'll probably delete that later anyway. So what we're going to do is we will do now we're going to turn it into a list. So we'll have our vector list, which is another variable we're going to call, and we're going to do vector, and these are case sensitive, so be careful. Call the previous step, and we're going to do that from the vector ID column. So we can do that that way, and then I'm actually going to get rid of this step here for now. We don't need the column, and then in vector list. So let's go have a look at what's happening here. So so this is a vector table, and then this is actually now in list format, and that's important because we need the list in order to call that into our post body later. So let's go back to the advanced editor and keep going. So now we're going to have our vector list, and what we need to do is we need to essentially turn this into a comma delimited type list. So we're going to turn this into the vector list for the body, and from here what we're going to do, we're just going to combine using text combine the vector list and a comma. So now we'll have a list with commas, and now we're going to start doing our post body. So we know that the vector IDs, so again, post body we know is going to be probably easier for us to copy paste in to preliminarily. Either here, we'll just have to watch out for our double quotes, or we do it as I've shown previously, where you just paste it straight into the formula bar. So here we are. So let's pull this through. And then I'm just going to put it all in one line so that I can think about it straight. Alright, so first things first, everything outside quotes. So all of my quotes here, got to double them up. Actually, we can leave these because we're going to replace those, but everything else, double them up. That should work. So I'm actually going to delete what's in here, and then we're gonna throw a couple things. So first, we have to put that in there, and we're gonna make room for our list to go. So our list is actually going to go in between here. So all we're going to do is we're going to put our vector list right in there, our vector list body, sorry. So essentially what this is going to do for us is allow us to insert the comma delimited vector list body in there, and then we'll back out of this and see that there, we missed a double quote there. So everything looks good, no syntax errors. So let's go have a look at what this actually does for us. So I think I pulled 40 some odd vector IDs, so let's have a look. So you see it brought in our vector IDs in a format that we didn't have to type out every single one, and everything else was pulled forward appropriately. So now we can call the rest of our programming forward as we did previously. So that is going to be our source, and that will be always forgetting the commas. So the source, I'm going to start with our JSON document, and that is then our web contents. Deleted some things. Let's just fix that up. We won't need that anyway. So we have our post URL, and as before, we're going to pull in our headers. Headers is equal to square brackets content type equals, sorry, quotes. And this is application JSON. Followed by content equals text to binary for our post body. Square bracket, close that off. Round brackets to go here, and we'll do that in source. And there you go. So now we're going to go through the same sets of steps. So this is a list, so we have to convert it to a table first. Nothing to be done here. We have lots of records. As before, status is irrelevant, so we don't need to bring it. Now we've got our object, so let's just open it up, pull it all open. Vector data points, but you see we've got lots of different coordinates this time, and so we've expanded our object. Let's go back here, open our data. We have records here. Let's pull it open. There we go. So there it is. So we can pull this in here. Nothing looks out of normal. So there you go. So we've got a nice working data set. From here, in order to really make it as friendly for your end consumer as possible, you're going to have to start looking at combining some of these fields with either the code sets or the metadata, and we'll start going through that in another series of videos, as there's probably many approaches we can take to that, and it really is going to be your preference, but we're going to have to really spend some time setting these things up so that we don't need to kind of come back to it, but once we're done, we're going to feel good.